XRP's price dipped today, and yeah, the whole crypto space is feeling it, but honestly, the long-term story hasn't budged an inch. What's actually pretty wild is catching Cointelegraph of all places, dropping a headline that gets it. Peep this. XRP distribution phase doesn't change, $20 price target analyst. Now hold up. We're talking about Cointelegraph here, the same outlet that's been roasting XRP like it's their full-time job for practically a whole decade. They haven't completely flipped the script, let's be real, but something shifted after November's election. Suddenly, you're actually spotting bullish XRP pieces from them. It's like a light bulb moment hit them. Maybe if we keep pushing the same tired FUD about XRP, we'll just cement our reputation as the clowns we've been for 10 straight years. Pretty wild seeing them throw XRP some respect, especially when everything's red across the board right now. So right now, as I'm putting this together, XRP sitting at $2.81, hit a 24-hour low of $2.78. Bitcoin's cruising at $18,564, bottomed out at $107,677 today. And predictably, most people are absolutely losing their minds with panic right now. It's crazy though. This is happening exactly when we should be pumped about crypto's positioning. XRP included, everything's lined up beautifully, yet everyone's running scared. The analysts I track, and trust me, I follow these guys for good reason, since their calls actually pan out. They're not sweating this at all. Zero capitulation vibes from them. Remember back when we hit rock bottom and all those chart reading experts were screaming we'd keep drilling lower? Yeah, good times. Remember Capo calling for Bitcoin to crash from around $16 a day down to $12 a day? Spoiler alert, never happened. While those doom and gloom voices were shouting from the rooftops, my go-to analysts were already calling the upward move. Bottom line, be super picky about whose voices you actually listen to. Look, nobody nails every single call. We're all human here, but these analysts have solid track records that speak for themselves. That's why this video is going to have some serious optimism, and I think it's totally justified. Quick reminder though, I'm definitely not your financial advisor. I don't have any finance background whatsoever. Don't buy or sell anything based on what I'm saying here. So yesterday morning, chart analyst Credible Crypto threw up a post. Pretty sure I touched on this in yesterday's video, but whatever. I'm not going to drag you through the whole thing word for word again. Long story short, he was basically saying that if you're looking at the quick moves, the short-term action, XRP was probably going to get smacked around pretty hard. But, and this is huge, none of that messes with the bigger story. Pull back and look at the weekly, monthly charts. XRP is still rocket bound. The guy hasn't shifted his tune even slightly from what he's been saying publicly. His prediction remains rock solid. XRP is going to top out somewhere in that $20, $30 range during this market run. Zero deviation there. Now get this. When he threw out that warning about the incoming drop, XRP was chilling around the $3 mark. Fast forward to now, and boom, we've definitely seen that pullback materialize. We touched $2.78 for our recent low point as I'm putting this together. That's actually a pretty decent haircut from where we started. So Credible Crypto dropped another post just this afternoon. We're talking maybe 2 hours ago tops. He's breaking down what happened with XRP, saying those $2.78 lows got hit right on schedule. He mentions that if he'd still been holding a long position below that level, since he was talking trading here, he would have gotten stopped out. Smart move backing off when he did. Well, here's the interesting part though. He says XRP BTC still not quite at my area of interest, so still watching price action develop on XRP for now. Then he breaks it down even further with 4 charts he threw on screen. You've got Bitcoin top left, XRP/BTC pair in top right, XRP/USD bottom left, and ETH and/USD bottom right. Posted this right as everything was tanking and people were absolutely freaking out. XRP was sitting at $2.82 when he shared this. His take, my current screen and what I'm watching closely, very confident that the red X's get taken on the 3 charts where I've marked them off. Whether Bitcoin will take $105,000 is another story. If the lows on the alt charts get taken and Bitcoin still remains above $105,000, it's a good sign. But here's what's wild. That low he marked with the X on the XRP/USD chart at $2.78, We nailed it exactly, at least as I'm recording this right now. Obviously, markets move lightning fast, so who knows where things are by the time you're watching this. You future people have the advantage there. But here's what really matters, and Crumbl's been crystal clear about this, that Bitcoin $105,000 level. Because here's the deal. He's gone on record saying if Bitcoin dips below that mark, that's when alarm bells start ringing. He's definitely not expecting it to happen, not even close. The blockchain backer's been singing the same tune on this one too. His thinking, if we punch through that level and keep sliding, that's his cue to seriously consider whether Bitcoin might have already peaked this cycle. Pretty heavy stuff. So yeah, that's a massive level to keep your eyes glued to. Really hoping Bitcoin holds its ground above that threshold. But right now, zero reason to panic, according to Credible Crypto. Actually, check out what he posted this afternoon to drive that point home. He wrote, "It is nice to see a steady stream of accounts that pop on my feed that are claiming that they believe the cycle top is already in or close enough to exit all their positions here. It would be much more worrying to me if I didn't see any of this and instead only saw euphoria on the timeline." And folks, let me just hit pause here. This matters big time because the crowd gets it spectacularly wrong almost every single time, especially at those crucial turning points. They're basically guaranteed to be on the wrong side. So when markets are bleeding red, like today, naturally everyone's hitting the panic button. That's exactly what you'd expect from your typical lemming retail crowd. They're just echoing whatever fears dominating the moment. Here's the brutal truth. Most analysts out there are absolutely terrible at reading charts. I'm talking about the vast majority of people you see throwing around technical analysis on social media. They genuinely have no clue what they're doing. It's painfully obvious once you start paying attention. Track anyone long enough and you'll see the pattern. They're either consistently right or consistently wrong. Simple as that. That's literally all I'm doing here. I'm no chart wizard myself, but here's the beautiful thing. You don't need to be some technical analysis guru to crush it in crypto. Just hold tight, honestly. So when he's calling out all this negativity he's been scrolling through, that's actually music to his ears. Why? Because if people were still partying while prices crater, that's when you'd really start sweating. He knows what real market tops look like, and it's those insane euphoric vibes taking over everyone's feeds. We're definitely not there yet. Honestly, I'm not buying this top is in narrative for even a hot second, and it's not just this social sentiment angle. Sure, it's a decent pulse check to factor in alongside everything else, but seeing this fear is genuinely reassuring. Then Credible Crypto drops this gem. Right now, the handful of accounts that I do see that are on the same page as me, like Cycle Top definitely not in, much higher to go, are all ones that usually have a sound approach / methodology, and that I respect in terms of their approach / ability in trading these markets. Nailed it completely. That's precisely the vibe I'm getting to, no question about it. Ruticlaude can make mistakes. Please double check responses. Check this out. Chart analyst Bobby dropped this bomb about XRP's monthly chart. Constructing a bullish flag after breaking out of a 7-year consolidation period with no euphoria detected, it is preparing to enter its parabolic blow-off phase and print its second confirmation peak into overbought territory on the relative strength index, similar to 2018. A bit of strategy and patience is all that is required. And then he hits you with this classic line, "Fortune favors bold and patient hands." Now, here's what's interesting. He threw this post up last night, right before XRP started taking that beating today. But the guy clearly saw this short-term dip coming from a mile away. How do we know? Because this afternoon, after everything had already tanked, he straight up reposted the exact same thing. His message to everyone freaking out, hey guys, literally nothing has changed here. Sure, XRP got smacked around today along with everything else, but his bigger picture remains totally intact. Higher time frames still scream moon mission this cycle. And you can totally see what he's eyeing as his target. Look at that monster take Nafi zone he's got mapped out, that green box stretching up toward $13, maybe even higher. We're not even close to sniffing those levels yet, people. This party's nowhere near over. Then he drops this gem today. The bottom line is this: 99% are fearful or skeptical. Remember that the best news comes at the top and the worst news at the bottom. Sentiment is not euphoric, and this market still has plenty of upside remaining. Money will always flow from impatient hands to patient ones. This account has proven that over the course of many years. Man, that's pure gold right there. Bobby absolutely nails the psychology of this whole game. He's been proving this stuff for years. The guy just gets it on a fundamental level. So chart analyst Zoom throws up this XRP slash US oil chart and breaks it down like this. After over 32 weeks of consolidation, XRP US oil has flipped to the previous resistance into a strong support. In a nutshell, XRP's top isn't in. Send it higher. Now, I know this isn't your typical USD pairing, but here's where it gets interesting. Chart analyst Dom, actually the first person I ever saw dive into this specific pair, he's pointed out something pretty wild. According to him, XRP slash USD basically just mirrors this oil chart, except it's running about 2 weeks behind. We'll have to see if that pattern keeps holding up. Not sure there's enough historical data to say it'll work that way forever, but maybe it will. Either way, Zoom's showing this chart holding solid support, which is key. Everything's connected in this game, not just within crypto, but across the entire macro landscape. All these pieces matter and they're all talking to each other. That's exactly why these chart analysts don't just stick to XRP slash USD or whatever fiat pairing you're used to seeing. They're constantly cross-referencing with other assets, checking performance across the board. They'll absolutely price XRP against anything. And here we're seeing it against oil. Then you've got the blockchain backer dropping his latest video. And even on a brutal day like today, the guy's still bullish as ever, he's sticking to his guns. XRP is going to absolutely rip higher, but he keeps hammering home this point. It's going to happen when everything else rockets up too. XRP doesn't just magically hit new all-time highs while everything else is dead in the water. That's never how it works anyway, but there's this one killer indicator he always watches, and it's been spot on every single time. XRP's had its monster runs during alt season, the Russell 2000 breaking out. And guess what? It actually has been breaking out lately, just like I've been pointing out. Had one day recently where it pumped almost 4%, which is seriously encouraging stuff. In his newest video, though, he laid out multiple reasons why we're sitting at this absolutely critical turning point right now. And he's convinced the market's going to bounce right back up. He walked through how we've been through tons of situations just like this before. This isn't some brand new scary territory we've never seen. It really isn't, even though it might feel terrifying right now. There have been countless times where everyone was just as freaked out and uncertain as they are today. And what happened? Markets eventually climbed right back up. Here's what really caught my attention, though. He thinks this whole turnaround is going to kick off in September. That got me pretty pumped to hear, honestly. And September is literally just a few days out. So if we're about to get an absolute banger of a September, we won't be waiting around much longer. He's totally convinced that retail is going to come flooding back into. And when he says retail, he's talking about the top 125 coins, everything except Bitcoin, basically. He pointed out that we're literally just sitting under that 2021 all-time high. We're talking inches away from smashing through it. The positioning is absolutely insane right now. Some charts, depending on what you're eyeing, have already busted through those levels. Others are sitting right there ready to pop. Everything feels like it's just coiled up and waiting. It genuinely feels that way too. Once we punch through those resistance levels, it's going to be game on, full send mode. And historically speaking, it makes total sense that the Russell 2000 is breaking out right alongside everything else. We're basically teed up perfectly here, folks. Here's what eRed Crypto dropped about the XRP slash BTC chart late last night, stalling before the move. He's basically saying XRP slash BTC is hitting pause mode right now, but he's still betting it's going to break higher when all's said and done. Funny thing is, that's the exact same read Credible Crypto's been giving, and they're definitely not the only ones. Crypto Insight UK called it too, along with a bunch of other analysts. Just because it's consolidating doesn't mean the breakout isn't coming. What you're seeing on that XRP slash BTC chart is this tighter and tighter range. Volatility is getting squeezed into this narrow box. It's really just a waiting game at this point. The bull market's still alive and kicking, folks. Then eGreg Crypto throws up this inverted XRP chart, and he's totally messing around here. He writes, XRP, is it crashing so hard? It looks like XRP is experiencing a significant downturn, and the trend may continue as we head toward the green circles on the chart. Continued decline. If the current momentum persists, we could see further drops. Obviously, he's just having a blast with this one. Since it's flipped upside down on this chart actually means we're rocketing toward $27. So when he's talking about further drops, that's actually moon territory we're headed for. Perfect way to lighten the mood on a day like today, honestly. Bottom line here, there's absolutely zero reason to be scared right now. None whatsoever. And then we circle back to that article I kicked off the video with. XRP distribution phase doesn't change $20 price target. Coming from Cointelegraph, no less, which makes it even more wild. Right here. XRP price action reveals a consolidation within a symmetrical triangle on the daily chart, suggesting that the altcoin may be preparing another bullish impulse, according to analyst X-Force Global. XRP price at $20 remains the primary cycle target, this anonymous analyst said in an X post on Wednesday. Although the price still faces strong resistance around the $4 psychological level, this does not alter the overall bullish outlook on the macro, the analyst said, adding that XRP could now follow two possible scenarios. Hold up. Got to hit pause here because you're going to keep hearing this exact same story from every single analyst I track. Yeah, price might tank in the short run, but does that flip the script on the big picture macro view? Hell no. It doesn't mean we've suddenly lost our ticket to the moon. That's not what any of this means. Truly, you're going to face countless moments exactly like this on your path to serious crypto wealth. If making life-changing money in crypto is your goal, you're signing up for wave after wave of these gut-punching episodes. Wave after wave after wave. Here's the brutal truth. It's not something you can skip. It's literally a mandatory part of the process. You've got to survive these moments to get to the other side. When the story keeps rolling, in the first scenario, the recent pullback is similar to the one seen in past cycles where the price drops to create new levels of distribution before a major breakout. In an accompanying video, X-Force Global said that after an almost 50% pullback from January 16th highs of $3.40, the price recovered to retest the level with the recent run up to $3.66. As such, the latest drawdown is another period of distribution before making one of the strongest moves to the upside, the analyst said. In the second scenario, XRP distribution will continue to complete the flat period between wave 1 and 2 before making that massive wave 3 to the upside. Essentially, we have two scenarios, in my opinion, that have the highest conviction probability, and I think we are very close to a much larger upward move, X-Force Global said, adding, quote, "There are just no signals supporting a larger sell-off to the downside." So basically, we've got two paths here, but both roads lead to the same destination, a monster move higher, whether it's scenario 1, where we're just loading up before the rocket launch, or scenario 2, where we're finishing this flat zone before wave 3 explodes upward. Either way, X-Force Global saying we're sitting right on the edge of something massive, and there's literally nothing pointing toward a major crash from here. The target for XRP price is between $19 and $30 based on both scenarios, as shown in the charts above. Yep, those beauties lighting up your screen right there. Here's what's absolutely wild to me. Every analyst in my rotation, and we're talking people with ridiculous win rates who spotted the bottom when everyone else was crying into their cereal, they're singing from the same hymn sheet. The top, not even in the same zip code yet. When we actually kiss that ceiling, trust me, you won't need me to spell it out. It'll be like fireworks going off. Metric after metric screaming that we've hit the danger zone or we're dancing right on the edge. And when that circus starts, I'll be the loudest voice in the room calling it. I'll wave every red flag I can find. Sure, I won't have some crystal ball telling me the exact moment, but when the puzzle pieces all point the same direction, you'll hear me shouting it loud enough to wake the neighbors. Right now, though, we're not even in the same galaxy as that moment. The math just doesn't work. This isn't some magical different time scenario. For all the reasons I keep beating like a dead horse in these videos. Plus, I've got a treasure chest of more ammunition coming your way, technical stuff, historical patterns, all the good stuff that'll pump you full of bulletproof confidence. But today, everyone just breathe. We're cruising. And hey, obviously, I'm not your money guru. Don't go throwing cash around because some guy on the internet got excited. It's a recipe for disaster, folks.